Welcome to our in-depth exploration of defensible space theory, an influential concept in urban design and crime prevention that has shaped the way architects, community leaders, and urban planners approach the challenge of improving safety in our neighborhoods. In today's presentation, we will delve into the origins and principles of defensible space theory, examine its key components such as territoriality, natural surveillance, image, milieu, and access control, and explore practical applications that highlight how environmental design can serve as a powerful tool in reducing crime and fostering community responsibility. Defensible space theory was initially developed in the early 1970s by Oscar Newman, a visionary thinker who recognized that the very design of our physical surroundings can significantly affect the behavior of individuals. Newman's groundbreaking work laid the foundation for a theory that suggests that when residents are encouraged to take ownership of their environment, a natural system of surveillance and accountability is developed. Essentially, by designing spaces that promote territoriality and control, communities can collectively discourage criminal activities and create safer living environments. At the heart of defensible space theory is the idea of territoriality. Territoriality refers to the human instinct to mark and defend one's personal space. In the context of urban design, clearly defined and well-delineated boundaries, such as fences, landscaping, or physical dividers, serve as a visual demonstration of ownership. These markers not only foster a sense of personal responsibility among residents, but also communicate to outsiders that this space is actively monitored and cared for. When residents perceive their surroundings as something they own and are responsible for, they are more likely to look out for potential problems and introduce measures to keep their community safe. It is this psychological investment that deters the intruder, making criminal activity less appealing. Coupled with territoriality is the concept of natural surveillance. Natural surveillance is the idea that the physical layout of an environment should encourage people to observe and monitor public spaces. The simple act of having open sightlines, well-placed windows, adequate street lighting, and unobstructed views plays a critical role in deterring criminal behavior. With natural surveillance, every resident becomes an informal guardian of the neighborhood. This method of passive supervision increases the risk for potential criminals because they know that they could be seen at any moment. The integration of natural surveillance principles into the design of urban streetscapes, housing complexes, and public spaces is one of the most potent methods for preempting crime before it happens. Another key element of defensible space theory is the concept of image, which refers to the way a space is perceived based on its appearance and condition. The image of a neighborhood or public area has a profound impact on how safe and welcoming it feels. A well-maintained and orderly environment projects a sense of vigilance and control. It sends a clear message that the community is proactive and cares about its surroundings. Conversely, neglected spaces with poor maintenance can create an impression of disorder and abandonment, providing fertile ground for criminal activity. This connection between appearance and behavior is also seen in parallel theories, such as the broken windows theory, which argues that visible signs of disorder, such as graffiti or litter, can escalate into more serious crimes. By investing in the upkeep of public areas and maintaining orderly surroundings, communities can reinforce a positive image that contributes to overall safety. Moving on to the concept of milieu, or environment, we find another critical aspect of defensible space theory that emphasizes the influence of a location's surroundings on its level of safety. The milieu includes factors such as the proximity to parks, alleys, commercial zones, or other public spaces. The inherent character of the environment plays a vital role in determining the risk of crime. For example, an area that is closely surrounded by safe, well-lit, and active community spaces is likely to experience lower crime rates than an isolated, underused area. The interplay between an individual space and its broader context creates what can be thought of as a safety net. This understanding encourages urban planners to consider not only the design of individual buildings and public spaces, but also the larger environmental and social context in which they exist. Access control forms the final pillar of the theory we will explore today. Access control involves measures put in place to restrict entry into particular areas, ensuring that only authorized individuals can enter. It might include physical barriers such as gates, fences, or monitored entrances. This concept is critical in limiting opportunities for crime by creating controlled entry points that can be easily managed and monitored. By designing communities with structured access control points, urban planners can significantly reduce the risk of unauthorized access and potential criminal behavior. The essence of access control is to create a physical and psychological boundary that discourages trespassers and helps residents feel secure in their environments. As we consider the implications of these 5 key concepts, territoriality, natural surveillance, image, milieu, and access control, it becomes evident that defensible space theory is more than just an academic construct. It is a practical toolkit for crime prevention. Imagine, for example, a public housing complex facing challenges with vandalism and break-ins. By rethinking the design of the space through the lens of defensive architecture, planners might implement clear territorial markers such as defined perimeters and community gardens, redesign building facades to enhance visibility through natural surveillance, invest in regular maintenance to project a positive image of order and discipline, and establish controlled access points to prevent unauthorized entry. In doing so, they not only reduce immediate threats of crime, but also empower residents to reclaim ownership of their environment and build a more cohesive community. Defensible space theory has thus not only found its place in academic discussions on urban design and criminology, but has also been implemented in various real-world applications. In urban housing, for instance, new developments are increasingly incorporating design principles that prioritize community ownership and natural surveillance. This means that designers are paying close attention to how spaces are laid out, ensuring that every window, walkway, and street corner is positioned to foster interaction and oversight among residents. Another innovative application of these principles can be observed in the field of crime prevention through environmental design, often abbreviated as CPTD. While CPTED itself is a broader strategy that includes multiple approaches, defensible space theory plays a significant role by acting as a cornerstone of this comprehensive approach to making communities safer. Consider the impact that implementing defensible space concepts can have on community policing strategies. When residents see that their environment has been thoughtfully designed to reduce criminal opportunities, they may be more inclined to involve themselves in local initiatives. This empowerment nurtures a sense of communal pride and responsibility. Community-led watch programs, neighborhood meetings, and local design consultations become more effective when the physical space reinforces the ideals of surveillance, control, and order. In this way, the dialogue between community members and urban planners evolves into a collaborative effort, aiming to not only reduce crime, but also to cultivate a supportive and vibrant atmosphere. The practicality of these principles is perhaps best demonstrated through the careful integration of design and community engagement. Take, for example, a recently redesigned urban park that once suffered from frequent incidents of vandalism and unsafe activity. By implementing a series of defensive design measures, such as strategic lighting, open sightlines, and defined zones for community activities, the park transformed into a space where residents felt secure enough to gather, converse, and build relationships with one another. This transformation not only curtailed the prevalence of crime, but also reinvigorated the area, turning an example of urban decay into a beacon of community resilience and proactive design. At its core, defensible space theory is about leveraging the built environment to create settings where crime is less likely to occur. It challenges us to rethink urban spaces by recognizing that the physical features of a neighborhood can either encourage or inhibit criminal behavior. By promoting designs that suggest ownership, encourage natural oversight, project a positive image, situate themselves within supportive milieus, and control access, communities can effectively lower crime rates and create a safer, more inviting environment. One of the most powerful aspects of this theory is its emphasis on community involvement. It insists that crime prevention does not rest solely on the shoulders of law enforcement or government policy, but is deeply rooted in the responsibility of the community itself. When residents actively participate in designing and maintaining their public spaces, they are inherently more motivated to uphold the standards that discourage undesirable behaviors. This communal approach not only enhances public safety, but also strengthens the social fabric, fostering a sense of unity and mutual care among neighbors. It is important to note that while the principles of defensible space theory offer substantial benefits, they are not without their challenges. Implementing these concepts often requires a balance between functional design and aesthetic appeal. Urban planners and architects must navigate regulatory constraints, budget limitations, and varying community preferences. Furthermore, modifying existing structures to adhere to these principles can be a complex and sometimes costly process. Despite these hurdles, the potential for meaningful improvements in public safety, quality of life, and community engagement makes the pursuit of defensible space design outcomes not only worthwhile but necessary. The dialogue surrounding crime prevention strategies continues to evolve as communities adapt to new challenges. Modern urban environments are facing a variety of issues that extend beyond traditional crime concerns, including traffic safety, environmental challenges, and the dynamic needs of a growing population. Despite these challenges, the fundamental insights of defensible space theory remain as relevant as ever. They remind us that safety and order are not merely the results of policing and surveillance technology, but also of the very spaces we inhabit and transform. By looking at historical precedents and embracing modern design interventions, urban planners can harness the power of defensible space concepts to build resilient communities. The lessons learned from past implementations, combined with innovative technological advancements and community wisdom, offer a promising pathway forward. Initiatives that integrate defensible space design principles are emerging as part of broader urban renewal projects around the globe. These projects underscore the potential of thoughtful design to effect change in cities struggling with high crime rates and community disillusionment. As we reflect on the transformative potential of defensible space theory, it becomes clear that the conversation extends far beyond mere academic inquiry. This theory has practical implications that touch on everyday life for millions of people around the world. Every time a community invests in safer, more engaging public spaces, they are putting theory into practice. From vibrant neighborhood parks and well-lit public thoroughfares to modern housing developments that prioritize resident interaction and oversight, the application of these principles promises meaningful, lasting benefits. Throughout our discussion, we have seen that defensible space theory promotes a dual approach. On one hand, it provides specific design strategies intended to physically deter crime. On the other, it fosters a mindset of shared responsibility. The theory emphasizes that safety is as much about the human element as it is about architectural innovation. It calls upon community members to become active participants in the care and maintenance of their environments. Moreover, as cities continue to expand and evolve, the interplay between design and community will only grow in importance. Issues of urban sprawl, the integration of green spaces, and sustainable development are all part of a broader conversation that intersects directly with the core ideas of defensible space theory. Forward-thinking urban planners are increasingly recognizing that creating livable, secure, and efficient urban environments requires a holistic approach, one that blends cutting-edge design with time-tested principles of community engagement and oversight. One can imagine a future where the principles of defensible space are standard practice in every urban project. Imagine cities where each neighborhood embodies the ideals of territoriality, ensuring that every resident feels a deep connection to their surroundings, where the design of public spaces naturally gives rise to constant supportive vigilance, where everywhere you look the maintained image of urban order deters disorder before it begins, and where the environment, the very milieu in which we live, is thoughtfully curated to promote the well-being of all its inhabitants. Picture communities that not only thrive in safety but also in communal strength, turning once vacant corridors and neglected lots into hubs of activity, creativity, and cohesion. In conclusion, Defensible Space Theory offers us a unique lens through which to view and address the challenges of urban crime and public safety. By emphasizing the significance of territoriality, natural surveillance, a positive image, mindful attention to the surrounding milieu, and effective access control, the theory provides practical steps that can translate into tangible improvements in community life. As urban landscapes continue to evolve, these principles remain a vital resource for architects, planners, and community leaders dedicated to creating environments that are both secure and welcoming. As we wrap up this exploration, consider the lessons we have uncovered. The quality of our urban spaces has a profound impact on the safety and vitality of our communities. It is a call to action, a reminder that thoughtful design and communal responsibility have the power to transform not just environments, but the very fabric of society. Whether you are an urban planner, an architect, a community leader, or simply someone with a vested interest in the future of our cities, there is a role for you in this ongoing journey towards safer, more resilient neighborhoods. Let this discussion of defensible space theory inspire you to look at your surroundings with fresh eyes and to engage in the process of shaping a future where design and community work hand in hand. The vision is clear. By embracing these principles, we can mitigate crime possibilities, enrich public spaces, and ultimately cultivate a stronger sense of belonging among residents. Thank you for joining us on this detailed exploration of defensible space theory, a testament to the power of design in creating safer and more connected communities. We encourage you to take these insights, apply them in your area of influence, and continue the important conversation about how environmental design can be a cornerstone of community empowerment